you? Kurt Cobain here. Decided to put together a little video because someone's turning 40. So I said to myself, hey, what can I do? Not much given the COVID. So let's go to the basement and work something out. Put a little ditty together. Put a little howdy do. Now what does that mean? Well, first off, it means stop. Say, happy birthday, Faye. 40. Hardly seems real till you look back. Even weirder when you consider the fact we've been together for nearly 25 of those years. 25! Seems crazy. So I was like, what do I do? So I figured I would help explain this to the rest of the people out there. Because you know what I get a lot? I get this. You guys are high school sweethearts? Holy moly. That's a long time. I can see in their eyes, even though they're like, wow, that's amazing. They're like, I can barely hold a relationship for 3 years before I hate the individual. Like, how are you not bored yet? So it's funny, because I ask myself, I'm like, why? Why don't I feel that? Why hasn't that come across where I'm like, I can't stand this, I'm so bored. So when putting this together, did some reading, amazingly enough, or audiobooks. Let you take that away. And I think it comes down to your definition of love and what you expect from love. Like, what is this love and how is it giving something to you? So typically what I see in people having conversations, is that idea where they can't say they're in love, or they don't know if they ever want to get married because they can't see themselves standing up in front of their families and friends and meaning as they look across at that individual and say to themselves, I, Kurt Cobain, take thee, Faye Robinson, from this day forth, through health and sickness, richer and richer, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. And if they can't do that, they're like, nah, this isn't it. Disney says this is not it. I'm out. That might be part of it. But doing some reading, I came across this one little quote, and it actually felt really true in some ways to me. And I was like, I'm going to build it on this idea. So Sam Keen said, and I quote, you come to love not by finding the perfect person, but by seeing an imperfect person perfectly. I'll say it again. You come to love not by finding the perfect person, but by seeing an imperfect person perfectly. So that's what this video is about. I'm gonna do a quick little walkthrough of Faye's life, and I'm gonna share some stuff, share some photos, and give you a glimpse on why I fell in love with Faye. And for some of you out there, maybe you will too, if you haven't already. Jeez. So let's start at the start. And typically that might be when I met Faye, but that's not where we're going. This is her 40th birthday, and I've got thousands of photos, and I've been able to come across some baby ones. So we'll start with the baby photos. And from there, we'll see where this guy takes us. And for those of you who don't know, it was February 14th, 1981. Faye was born in Pointe Claire, Quebec. Now, she spent a few years there before she moved on to the great state of Alaska and eventually made her way to Alberta. She had 2 loving families to help guide her and put some strong morals in her. However, before that would happen, as you can see from some of the photos, she was bald for most of her tiny childhood, so they called her the Peach. But very similar to our youngest, she also had the nickname Wolverine because she was very cooperative and kind to no one. Alright, now let's get to the cool shit. Enter Kurt Cobain. 1993. RT Alderman, junior high, Mr. Nick's class. I was already pushed up front, Faye sat in the back, third row from the door, looking calm, cool, and collective. I said, "Hey, I'd really like to make you my girlfriend." And she said no. 3 times, without even consideration. She had some learning to do, some growing up, I think. But yeah, that's where it first happened, our meeting, but not our future. It was just her denying me any sort of love at that point. Yeah, and I think that's enough about that for now. Yeah. Let's get to the heavy. Ooh. The year 1996. Beverly Hills 90210. Coolest TV show. Number 1 single, Meatloaf. I would do anything for love. I was working, trying to better myself, build some backbone. It was a cold, brisk night, November 11th or 14th. I can't remember. Faye will yell at me later after watching this and say, "It was blank date." Doesn't matter, because there was something special in the air that night. Not just the smell of the 7 or 8 pizzas I brought to the party, because I'm a good friend who hates to see people hungry, because I too myself was well fed at that time. So I enter the party, expecting nothing. And out of nowhere, Faye comes tiptoeing up, looking me right in the eyes, and says hence to me, "Hey, let's make out right now." Where I then said to her, "No." Seems crazy, I know, given that I was 4'11", heavy. But she'd crushed my heart. Yet, just 3 years earlier, I said unto her, "I am not here to make out with you. I want to date you." Within, she says to me in a slightly drunken slur, "That's ridiculous. Just make out with me now." Where I proceeded to say, "No." Then she looks me dead in the eyes and says, "Fine. If I date you, will you make out with me?" Hence I said, "Yay. Let's get it on." And upon thus day, a future was born. May not have been the prettiest thing, but I tell ya, it was the beginning to the Picasso painting we call our lives. Much like an orchid, the blossoming of this relationship took a while. But once it started to flower, was something incredible. For example, 2 weeks after the party, Faye really didn't want to date me, but didn't have the heart to let down such an excited, giddy, overzealous, growing young boy. So she didn't. From there, grade 10 kind of flew by. I would do odd things like meet her at the train station, because she's very smart and went to Western, where I was just lucky to be in school. Which led us into grade 11, where we learned a lot about each other and life and things and what it meant to support someone emotionally. You know, letting the other person in, saying, hey, yes, that sucks, but it doesn't suck so much when we're together. Learning that young, that was pretty cool. In high school, gosh, by that point, you know, I was becoming pretty cool. She could stand to be seen with me in public. Things were really looking up. We eventually left our training shoes, or whatever you call it, as a relationship, and graduated together. Went to Mount Royal College at that time. With the grades I was getting, was lucky enough to be accepted. Faye went there, and the hopes become something great. A designer.
Aaron Marie getting ready to graduate. Oh my god.
So we helped each other. That's where we learned to really fight. We fought to get the first apartment. We fought to get the groceries. It was cool. She helped me fight through school, you know? And she supported me when I said, hey, I'm going to LA. I'm going to LA to learn something. Lethbridge, Alberta. That is cool. She said, I'm not going with you. I said, that's okay. So we're in love. Something like that, probably not quite those words. We could do this long distance relationship, and we did. We did. She'd come down every once in a while, because I didn't have a car down there. And we actually learned a lot about ourselves at that point too. We grew as individuals. We grew as individuals, but also as a couple. Why? Because we had to. Unfortunately for her, I was not willing to let go. So we did. We grew. And it was awesome. You know? Eventually graduated. Bought a place together. I did crazy stuff. I competed in bodybuilding at that time. And that's when you knew things were like really changing. Because when you compete in bodybuilding, you literally take motor oil and you paint yourself all over. And you wear a tiny little mankini. And barely covers my tiny butt. And I knew at that point she was into me, because she literally like painted my butthole. So if my shorts moved a bit, it wouldn't be real embarrassing out there winking on stage. Yeah. It wasn't always great. Some of those times were really difficult, you know, like actually making the decision to stay a couple while being so far apart, and like making the decision to buy a house and only have the whole development crash and lose thousands of dollars or deposits and everything else. And then making the decision, you know, to focus on careers, you know, because we had these future plans together. It was awesome. It was awesome. Absolutely exciting. And knowing that I was doing it with someone Who knew me? She knew me by this point, and I knew her. And we were building this little empire together. It was awesome. Oh. It was just us against the world. And we did crazy things. We traveled, went to music concerts, had some fun, had great friends. What a relationship should be, in your 20s. And then we decided to get married. Why? Because I knew getting married at that point wouldn't change our relationship. There's nothing that marriage could give us that we already didn't have. And that says a lot. Yeah. What a beautiful time that was.
Hey.
Hi, Peeping Bride. Hey. You know what? She's got an Angelina Jolie thing going on.
Totally does.
Hey?
The marriage between Kurt Coburn and Faye Robinson in the legal state of matrimony. Who brings Faye to be wed with Kurt here today? Faye, do you repeat? I call upon those persons present. To witness that I, Faye Robinson. Do take thee, Kurt John Coburn. To be my lawfully wedded husband. Kurt, do you have a ring for Faye? I do. Then I give you this ring. That you may wear it as a lasting reminder of our marriage vows, and as a symbol of my love and my commitment to you. And placing the ring on Kurt's finger, could you repeat? Kurt, I give you this ring. That you may wear it as a lasting reminder of our marriage vows, and as a symbol of my love and my commitment to you. And now, by the authority vested in me, I pronounce you husband and wife, and you can share your first married kiss.
Perfect. Married. Things are going well. Get a dog. It's a good dog. You take care of it, it lives. So what next? Well, like every foolish couple, once you're married, got the house, the dog. You want to jump off that next cliff. You want to swan dive right off that cliff into parenthood. First and foremost, a little quicker than we planned. Turns out, very good at what I do, and lo and behold, on June 26th, 2012, Wyatt Cash Coburn makes himself present as a present for someone. Nah, he's a good kid. In fact, he's so good. Yes, he lives up to the hype of being a baby. Can't feed himself and takes a lot of time and poops a lot. But he's so good to the point where gotta have a brother. Or at least we didn't know. Gotta have someone. Could be his sister. So we go for it. Number 2. Number 2. The test of life. August 3rd, 2014. Walker Hendricks Lee Coburn graces us with his presence. It's oh so bold and fierce and vibrant and lovable presence. And that's when you test a marriage. 2 kids. 1, yes, you're like, whoa, this is crazy. People have more. 2, ridiculous. If you have 3, I don't want to know you. So we have this second child, and that's a test on him. Marriage. You spend all this time fighting for each other. It's goals, success, leading to great things, and you have kids, thankless leeches of life and joy, in the nicest way possible. Yes, I love them in a paternal way. At this point, they're just so wonderful to have in my house. Take up all the time and joy, and like little vacuums, vampires of good things. Yet, the most interesting thing happens out of this. It all starts to make sense. That sacrifice, where usually you guys would be doing it for each other, you and your significant other. That sacrifice where it's going to these lovely little beings of joy. You know, it's a necessity. Because eventually, quite recently, like, give yourself some time if you're still going through this. Quite recently, it was funny. Something that I only thought Faye could give me. From our years of knowing each other, growing as this unit of justice, all of a sudden started to shine through the eyes of my kids. It was the weirdest thing ever. Things I would only expect from Faye. Little did I know that the cracked smile, the sharp wit, was all that love that we weren't able to give to each other at that point, because it was a necessity to give to them. And seeing this come through them.
Have you had a ding dong?
Yeah.
What's a ding dong taste like?
Beautiful. I truly fell in love with them, but not only them, because seeing it for a second time, you see an imperfect person perfectly through your kids. You see that hard work, you see that dedication, that love, that drive, everything that encouraged you to build that relationship with them, to somehow want to have children with them. It starts to leach out of these little beings in new and crazy ways. So am I bored? can't be bored. Am I tired of being with the same person? No. She's not the same person. We're not the same people. Yet I've grown to love her more. As a mother, as a mentor to these kids, as a friend. So as you turn 40 today, know that I don't think I've ever loved you more. Perfect imperfections, as John Legend would say, are beautiful to me. So, I hope that spread some light on our relationship. This is obviously getting fairly long. It's going to take me a while to upload it to the World Wide Web or the YouTube. So I'll leave it here. Thanks for taking a chance. It was worth it for me. This is a love I could have only gotten from you. It's a gift. It's a gift I get to keep forever. It's made my life worth it. So thanks. Here's to another 40. God, Lord knows those are going to be some ugly years by the time that comes up. But until then, I love you. Wild horses did not drag me away.
Happy birthday, Mommy. We love you so much. Around the stars and back. Happy birthday. Happy birthday.